Good evening. Today is Monday, June 27th, 2022. This is the Bond Oversight Committee meeting. I believe we have a quorum. I'm Minnie Dora Van Haynes. I'm the chairperson.
Orlando Navarro, Erasmo Villarreal.
Thank you. And we have council here present also.
Yes, Jaime Garcia.
The first items, did anyone sign up for public comments?
I believe not.
Right, thank you. Then we have some information.
No public comments.
Conocidos, right? Like,
No.
No public comments.
Then we have some informational items. The 2013 bond construction program update, please.
yes, the staff is going to bring you your packets, but right now we just have information, but the other 4 items will be for your consideration. So we'll give you the program update. Let's see. Oops. Let's see.
Mr. Joe Lopez has just joined us.
Can I turn that over?
Can you write it?
Where? I feel like I'm out of practice. We haven't had a meeting since December.
I know.
Let's see.
Right down the pull down spot.
It's upside down.
Can you take over it?
Under view, you can do the rotate on your left.
Oh.
There's a,
We'll
go
take
to,
the
go to
free
the
trial.
far left on top, view.
The view?
Yeah, no, right there. Rotate
Okay.
view on top,
Very first item.
Right
Right.
there, yeah.
count it.
Again. Again.
Shift control plus.
Okay, now I know where it is.
Now just click on it so you can play up.
Okay.
There we go. Good evening, Superintendent Gonzalez, Madam Chair, members of the Bond Oversight Committee, and members of the audience. Ignacio Lanis, Director of Construction Management, presenting 3 projects of the 2013 Bond Construction Program. This first slide shows the projects with their percentage and their substantial completion dates. We have Ricardo Molina Middle School, which is completed substantially March 15th of this year. It's at 98% completion. Second project we have is the Juan Roberto Ramirez Middle School, which the substantial completion date for that one is May of 2024. And we're at 14% completion, and New Clark Elementary School, which at 4%. Also substantial completion date in 2024.
Let me see what you do.
So.
Oh, sorry.
I got it on rotate.
I know. Okay, patience. Okay. This one is Molina.
Yeah, Molina Middle School, the first project I'm going to present. Since this project is substantially completed and we've already gotten the certificate of occupancy for it as well, what I'm going to present basically are photos, construction progress, construction pretty much finished photos, and some areas of the exterior that are still being worked on. So we can just pretty much go through the slides to show the finished product.
That's a picture?
Yeah, these are views. That's the
Okay.
front view of the campus,
It
yes.
just looks really nice, blue skies. Okay. Yeah, right? It doesn't, yeah. But those could be Laredo skies, yes. Okay. Then, okay.
Yeah, so if you go down the list, you just see the areas that describing the view. Like I mentioned, the exterior site work is underway or is in progress. You'll notice in some of these photos, the furniture and equipment is already being installed in place in its designated areas.
Cafeteria tables.
Cafeteria view,
Food service equipment.
yes, kitchen equipment, science lab equipment, furnishings.
I think this is,
Typical classroom.
Yes.
Those are regular student desks, but they're able to put them for group,
Correct.
yeah, group instruction, special ed. Okay. Art. They teach art in middle school. Well, they have an elective teacher. And then,
So as with all buildings, so once it gets to this stage, we start getting,
Next one is the STEM classroom.
the STEM.
Number 23 there.
Oh, okay.
Science, technology. engineering.
yes, we start testing all the equipment. And we have technicians from different companies checking the air condition and all the other components.
We're already installing the computers.
And computers.
These will be the first week of July.
Right.
We have had issues, believe it or not, on the supply chain, getting some things in, and we're kind of sometimes moving things around just to make sure the right things are in place for the school. But we ordered early on, purchasing, just knowing that we're probably already going to start putting some orders in for the next 2 schools that do not open till August 2024. So we'll keep going because it's not getting any easier to get these items.
Yeah. The next project is the Juan Roberto Ramirez Middle School.
Okay, these completion dates.
This project is at 14% completion. And as some of the photos reflect, we have certain sections of the project concrete slabs already in place, with underground plumbing, of course, in those areas. And we have CMU block already being placed as well. And as they continue with these interior walls, they're prepping for the balance of the concrete slabs for other areas. So they're working the both areas at the same time.
So this one, we actually had the dedication, no, the
Groundbreaking.
groundbreaking for our board member, Mr. Ramirez from the Mines Road area, District 6. So that was on the 3rd of this month. It was kind of warm, but we did it early in the morning, and we had canopies and everything. But we were able to get it done. I think that was, we were just waiting to see if we'd get a road or not, okay? So, is that all pictures?
Yes,
Okay.
it's,
Now, that one, we have an action item for this actual meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
correct.
We have 2 items related to Ramirez Middle. We have the road that we need to build in front of it, and then we have an amendment to the actual contract.
Okay.
So now we have Clark Elementary.
Yeah, the third project we have is Clark Elementary, which we required a foundation permit for this site or this project. Some of the materials already being stored on site. We have some import fill as well, stockpiled on the site that's going to be required for the building slab or building pad. So basically, those are the 3 projects, and
Nachi, let me ask you, there's a lot of dirt stockpiled over there. Does that mean you're gonna have to lift your elevation there because it's in a flood area?
yes, we are going to have to lift.
Yeah.
And due to some of the conditions of the existing soil, we're going to have to remove, and they're going to have to, backfill with imported fill.
Yeah, that's one of the items as well that we're gonna ask for your review and approval for Clark Elementary. It has to do with the filling of the dirt and sewer lines and stuff.
Building elevation. That'll be one of the action items we recommend.
Does anybody have any questions on our program update?
Okay. Action items.
Well, let me go over the financial report.
Oh, sorry, bond
Yeah,
financial
but,
report, sorry.
so, no, that's fine.
Bond financial report.
Yeah, so pretty much you can understand that all these, if you just think of all the campuses that you just saw right now, Ramirez, this number will keep on moving a little bit. Molina Middle, that number is pretty much done. Everything's been ordered. And then the last one is Clark Elementary. This has a GMP in it. We knew it had come higher than what we had budgeted. But pretty much all the campuses are done. And the furniture and equipment in some cases has already been put in. And then we have our technology upgrades, I think, right, Mr. Perez? I think pretty much everything is done.
We're almost done. The money that we have, we've been using it as matching funds for E-rate to bring more grants.
Yeah, we'll be using some of this money, yeah.
Almost over.
And then safety and security, I think, we'd like to commend this Oversight Committee, and if some of you all served on the Blue Ribbon, to have, committed some of our money to security measures. Y'all know now we do have those security stations at each of our campuses. And then we've worked on keyless access doors.
Surveillance cameras.
And these are the kind of things we're hearing from the state and the federal government to what they call hardening your school. So, I mean, your school's never perfect, but I think we're in good shape. That, we have the security stations, we have manpower at our campuses, we put cameras, we put access controls, and, I think we're in good shape. Of course, we are gonna be testing our campuses for safety, but to have committed over almost $11 million from this bond, I think it was used wisely. So I commend you all and the Citizens Committee to have given us permission to use this money. Sometimes, like, that was 10 years ago, who would have thought so much would have happened in 10 years?
If there's, Madam Chair, if I may, talking about matching funds, I think that'd be important to put in a report next to this to show that, there was some thoughts in saving money and doing matching funds. It really makes a difference if you do that, so.
Definitely.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, at least we can work on something.
Yep.
And then, of course, at the bottom line really is, you're gonna see in the two items that we bring where we're gonna add to existing contracts, the plan is to cover those two items with this unallocated interest income. As you have bond proceeds, you're able to invest and then kind of do the timing of them as you need them, right? With a cash flow projection from your contractor. And so right now we have about $857,000 that has not been committed to any program, right? But we hope to allocate some of this to those two items that we're going to present to you this evening. I don't know if anybody else has any. Now, one thing we did bring is we went ahead and took the money from the old Salinas. The Salinas replacement, as you well know, that we demolished the building. There's nothing there right now. We moved those kids to a brand new Salinas Elementary. But we reallocated the funds to these three new projects which the board had wanted us to look into, which is about $10 million for United South High School, $1 million for United South Middle, and $1 million for Reese Elementary. And Mr. Rangel is working with our architects and the campus staff to say, okay, this is what you need to do. And then the architects will come and give us specs or whatever they do, designs. And then we have an opportunity to go out for RFPs. So that's the process that we're going to follow, right? So that money's been set aside there, or reallocated. So I don't know if there's any other questions.
Madam Chair, if I may, just a quick question on the security upgrades. That funding, you mentioned about the access control with the events that have happened recently and all that. Was there anything put towards the access control for the individual classrooms, or?
It's all in the exterior doors.
For the perimeter?
Yes. I think what we have for our classrooms, what we have is ability for them to be locked. They have a, I don't know, we have them here.
It's like a ruler.
It's like a magnetic ruler that you can pull
It's
down.
swipe or something, or what?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, we can probably get one to just show
It's a
it,
magnetic
but.
lock. It's a magnetic lock.
Okay.
And
try to
you
get
can
to
take
those
it
is
off and then the door closes,
tough.
but it's there to keep it open for the traffic going in and out of the
Right.
classroom.
Make sure like all the classroom doors are always locked, but with that magnetic strip, they can unlock it and they
Folks
can
that have
keep it
access
open.
will be able to
Correct.
get entry to the classroom.
Yes.
Even your campus police, I would imagine, would have access to those classrooms.
They will because, and I mean, it's public knowledge, but we have lock boxes in all our campuses that have extra keys. But then Ms. Rendon, who guides us on our safety, she's our go-to person for safety, right? is recommending that we put additional lock boxes in other locations, so we're working on that. So our concern right now is hardening the exterior, and that's why we're trying to get more access control doors. In any funds that we see coming, like you've heard, oh, they're gonna send us some money, we're waiting. But I know the last time that we did get, and it was after the Santa Fe High School shooting, we did get about $800,000, and we used it to do bulletproof windows, where we had in the glass, the entrances, and where we had a massive amount of glass. And then we used some of the money for the access control doors.
Yes, this is originally, Madam Chair, members of the board, originally the project for the access controls was going to be an analog system. It was going to be under Mr. Rangel for about $1 million. But the technology evolved so fast in 2012, 2013, that the analog systems became antiquated. They became digital systems. So what we did, the challenge that we had is to combine the money for the surveillance camera budget with the access control, put it all together, bid it out, and in a way where the surveillance system is connected to the access doors. So when you come in and you scan, the camera actually is right at you. So you can put 2 and 2 together. You came in at 257, you left at this time. The type of systems that we have, the digital systems, allows, for example, to lock the entire campus. Like right now, we gave key cards to some of our SWAT personnel, some of our police department. They have access to our doors during the day, not on the weekends. They also wanted access on the weekends, but we did not allow them. So they can come in and they can go in. We can even, for example, prepare a safety approach. If there's some action going on in a particular wing, we can unlock the doors remotely and they can come in through there so that they don't have to worry about who has the key, because that time, unfortunately, that minute, 2 minutes could save a lot of lives. So we prepared this whole project, and I'm talking about 2011, where we had the vision, thanks to your help, of looking at this kind of situations. The problem that we have now is because there was only $1 million allocated for the access doors, we didn't have enough for all the doors in the campus. So the campus principal, like United High School, has almost 38 doors. I'm talking about it this morning. So we prioritize the main doors, the ones that are more visible. Those were the ones that we got. Now we have a project that we were able to get with the last bond funds for 17 doors, and you approved this a year ago, back in May. Everything's already wired. I mean, we have the readers, we have everything. And there's one little chip that is coming from China that has been delayed since last May. So it's been 13 months, and we're waiting. And supposedly we're gonna get it by October. But at this point, anything we get will be for Molina Middle School. We're gonna get Molina off the ground. So that's kind of to give you an idea about, and thank you for your support, because you always have supported us on those projects. And we feel that we're very well equipped, because the difference on the access doors, the door is locked all the time. It's not open for you to come, no, it's locked. You have to have a reader, or they have to let you come in from the inside. And you saw those door props that they have. I mean, I'm sure you used to see them in our schools, where you see a little rock or a little break where the teacher will leave the door open. That's a thing of the past. We have addressed most of the back doors to be able to have, you know, some kind of a mechanism where you can come in, and from the front, they'll let you come in on the back. Or we have the teachers at the portables, they have an extra key that they give the student if they need to use the bathroom. So we are equipped like that. So our schools are very safe, and all the stuff that Mr. Rangel has done with the bulletproof glass, you know, all those barriers. So we're doing pretty good. But I wanted to thank you, because this project started as a very small analog/digital and became all digital. So for us, technology-wise, is something that evolved in a very, very good way. I don't know if you have any questions on the access doors.
No, I think that's great. That's great information, and let the district is moving in that direction.
Thank you.
I was just wondering that we want to make sure that the right folks have the right access.
Sure.
In case, you
Sure.
know.
They like it, for example, the principal can unlock the door for a coach that wants to go practice on a Saturday. In the past, is go get the custodian, open the gym. Nowadays, they can just give the access. I'm going to give you 6 hours. You can go in and you can leave. They can do it from their computer from home. So, some of the things that we do.
You've been ahead of the curve.
We've been doing pretty good, thank God. I think United is done a lot in the last 10 years, and thanks to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then there's a lot of detail that goes behind that summary page.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Benavides? And if you're ready, we'll proceed to the action items. Discussion and possible action to recommend to the Board of Trustees approval of CSP 2022-019, construction of Agüero Boulevard, extension and related infrastructure for United ISD New Juan Roberto Ramirez Middle School.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and Bond Oversight Committee. The recommendation is to award CSP 2022-019 to Line Decker Construction. The amount is for $2,330,000, which includes the base bid plus a $150,000 contingency allowance and a voluntary reduction of $5,000. And of course, the contingency is only to be used at UISD's discretion.
Can you give us a little bit of detail as to how that money's gonna be spent? It's a public street, right?
It's the street. Do you want to go over the actual project? Okay.
Yes, I'll give an overall general, and the engineer is here, Mr. Jeff Puig, to go into more detail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, it's a continuation of Vaquero Boulevard, but instead of the 5, I guess, lane, existing lane, it's gonna be reduced to 3 lanes. It'll be 2 and a turning lane. But it'll also have 2 bike lanes and a sidewalk in front of the actual building. And Jeff here can explain a little bit more on the detail of the construction.
Details of the road are what he explained. Basically, we've got a 5-lane road section that's a transition down to a 2-lane road section. So throughout the transverse, it goes from the 5 lanes down to 3 lanes with the right turn dedicated for the school. And on the sides, we were required to build 2 12-foot dual purpose use bike / sidewalks on either side of the road that would be available for the ultimate construction. The ultimate construction would be a 5-lane with a dedicated right turn lane for the school. So this is, at this point, it's what was required to be constructed, which was the transition from the 5-lane down to a 2-lane.
Jeff, I don't exactly understand the bike lane sidewalk. Is it a bike lane like that thing on Santa Maria Avenue that the trucks straddle? Or is it a sidewalk?
No, it's a separate sidewalk. It's actually moved off of the curb line. So we've got a separation, I believe it's about 6-foot separation from the back of curb to where the sidewalk and bike lane happen.
How many blocks are there?
It's the full length of the school property. So I don't have a total length here with me. Yeah, that's probably about right, about 2 blocks in length.
And right now, there's a dead end, right?
You're right, right now there is a dead end, and there's a turnaround that would be included as well.
Jeff, where is the transition gonna start, at the intersection, or as you go in to the street?
It's about 150, 200 feet from the intersection is the transition that occurs from the 5 lanes neck down to 3 lanes, and then after the school, it goes down to a 2-lane.
Did anybody do a traffic study?
Yes, there was a traffic study done by Kimberly Horn on the property,
And
and it was done by the developer adjacent to us. They were the ones pushing the change in the narrowing down, because the original intent was to go with a 5-lane section with a right turn lane for the school. And since the developers in participating with this, they brought it down to what the traffic study called.
how many trip generations are in that traffic study that are gonna be done?
Without having the study in front of me, I'm not sure the total number of trip generations, but they based it on a school and the master plan development that they had at the time.
Thank you. Mr. Puig, at this time, I'd like to also introduce Mr. Kenny Valls as our UISD legal counsel for real estate matters. He's going to explain a little bit of as far as the agreement that we have with the developer and how this project will actually be financed.
Madam Chair, Council, the with respect to this particular project, UISD executed a purchase and sale agreement that had a reimbursement agreement in it, where the owner of the property across the street from the school, and it was an obligation that ran with the land, and so the ownership has changed 3 times over the years, but there is a reimbursement obligation that that is triggered when UISD gets the extension of the road all the way to final completion. Then the reimbursement obligation is tendered. We have been in contact with the adjoining landowner since 2017, and there's been a lot of pushback and forth. Our original plan was to continue the same width of Vaquero, and they were adamant that using their study with Kimberly Horn to try to narrow it down to 3 lanes. Since then, they've indicated their objection to several of the items that are included within that $2,330,000 quote. The problem that they have is that the city of Laredo is requiring all of the items that they've objected to. And so we don't think that they're valid objections. We'll learn just how strongly they're gonna cling on to those objections when UISD tenders their request for reimbursement. And they'll either make the full payment or they won't. There are a lot of there's only about $150,000 in dispute, and then now their percentage of reimbursement for that $2,330,000 is not exactly half, because there are some improvements to the road that apply only to the UISD property, and pursuant to our agreement with the adjoining landowner, those costs would not be spread or shared with the adjoining landowner. But we do have a spreadsheet that we've been maintaining with our engineer, and we have come to an agreement on everything but about $150,000 worth of reimbursement. And the fact of the matter is that $2,330,000 figure has grown over the last 2 years because of the shortage of materials and manpower. And so, but they're just going to have to, and they're objecting to that also, but that's like objecting to the weather, It's I don't think it's going to be a proper objection, and I think at the end of the day they're going to have to pay one way or another. And so UISD cannot afford to wait anymore.
Okay.
Even though they've lodged some objections, it's UISD. We've already recommended to the board that with the approval of the Oversight Committee, that if the Oversight Committee approves going forward with this, that the board should proceed and then tender their reimbursement. And if they pay, that's fine. If they don't, well, we may either have to come back and decide whether or not we would accept a discount or seek a legal remedy to get paid. But delay would only cause that number to go up. The other issue is that the school's already under construction. As we saw a little while ago, it's about 14% complete. So if they don't start bidding out now, they will not reach their final completion in time to properly support the school. So the time has come to move forward. In the opinion of the administration, with the consent and support of the Oversight Committee. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes.
So the school district has to put up all the money to do the construction of the road.
That's correct.
And then you get reimbursed.
That's correct.
I have one last other question. Does this street have surface drainage or underground drainage? Surface drainage. Okay.
And this includes all the utilities, some utilities.
Yes.
Not just the road. There's underground, the water.
Underground utilities as well, extension.
Okay.
Water lines, sewer lines.
Some of the utilities that would only service the school would be part of the reduction of that $2,330,000. And over time, we've come to an agreement with respect to the utilities that only service UISD. UISD will not seek reimbursement for half of those costs. But any of the utilities that service more than just UISD, and of course the road and the sidewalks, would be covered in that reimbursement request.
And the reimbursement is a 50-50?
The reimbursement is a 50-50. Any other questions?
It actually delayed us even working on the school. Like, we kept on delaying, and it's already cost us money
This
just.
thing has been ongoing since 17 or something like that.
2017.
You know, then they added the bike lanes to it, and it's been a quagmire of disaster.
The difficulty in getting the city of Laredo to take a final position was a part of the delay also. But we did in May receive a final written position of the city of Laredo with respect to the bike lanes and with respect to the design of the road. And so with that, we decided to bring it to the Bond Oversight Committee, get your input, and then, set it up for a presentation to the board.
Who will need access?
Madam Chair, I do have a question for legal. As far as my position, could I vote on this, or should I abstain from this?
You can vote on it, yes.
I can
You
vote
don't,
on
you don't have ownership interest in the city, but you are welcome to also abstain if you feel you
We
need
have
to.
enough.
But
Yeah.
you should.
Okay.
But legally, you may vote.
Can I make a comment? As a former teacher or principal, I run a school. It is not logical to have a wide street, and then in front of the school, the street gets smaller. If anything, you want a wider street or one just the same. It just does, there's no sense. The only sense I think is somebody wants to save money at the expense of the safety of students. Why would you want a street more narrow in front of the school? That's the busiest area. I'd have to throw my 2 cents.
Now, we do have the design of the school itself, we do have the bus loop exiting on a side street. So like, sometimes it's the same road, but entrance into the campus. Yeah, and then we exit on the road that goes next to Bernadette. So hopefully get that bus traffic out like in the evenings, or just bus traffic out once they drop off the kids and they go through the outer loop.
And what they're referring to is, basically, we have a dedicated right turn lane, the full length of the road for the school district. So they get in the right turn, they turn the bus, they go all the way around, drop off, and then they come out on Bernadette. So they don't come out back on the same road. So they come back out on the larger section road and come back out. So it's a little bit different than some of the other schools where they come in and out on the same road, where there's more traffic. So traffic are going to go out and get out.
And just for the edification of the committee, the school district did fight the narrowing of the street for 2 years. We just couldn't get anywhere with it, so it was we felt that at some point we were just spinning our wheels because the dealing with the city is kind of like a blunt instrument. There's too many factors weighing in on it, and so the school district decided to move forward so that we could,
That was before.
That was before. And so that is why we had the narrowing there. But the truth of the matter is that if the developer next door ever decides to develop, they're going to have to develop the rest of the street. And so that's I've never understood their thinking on this matter. But sometimes you're your own worst enemy.
It's all about money.
So, I'll entertain a motion if the committee has no further questions.
Yeah, there was funds at the very beginning for the school for a road, because we knew we were making a school.
It's under land improvement.
Yeah, there's a section called land improvements for that school.
For our share.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to recommend the approval of this particular budget.
Second motion. And just for clarification, that would be in the amount of?
The amount of $2,330,000.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? There being no discussion, I'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor? Any
One
opposed?
abstention.
And one abstention. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your statement. Next action item, discussion and possible action to recommend to the Board of Trustees approval of amendment number 1 to the design build contract with Linebacker Construction of Texas Inc. for Clark Elementary School replacement to increase the contract guaranteed maximum price amount for cost increases for additional site work requirements and utilities infrastructure installation.
Good evening. So here, this is Amendment 1, but it's an amendment to increase the contract by $381,641.70. And this is for additional fill for the building pad and additional utility line extension. I don't know if Mr. Alanis wants to elaborate.
Okay, well, basically, the purpose for the change order is to provide 3 feet of additional imported fill for the entire building pad in order to ensure a lower potential vertical rise, PVR, of 1 inch. Maximum increase, and to provide adequate elevations to connect the existing sanitary sewer lines located south of the property on Hillside in lieu of the sewer line on Mayberry Street, which would be the main drive into the campus. Additionally, this includes water utility line extensions as required by the City of Laredo Engineering Department to loop the water line into the existing system at Clark Middle School located adjacent to the south of the new Clark Elementary School site. So in summary, that's really the scope of work that will be required to.
Was this unforeseen or was this unforeseen?
Well, some of this information based on where we decided to build in this location to keep it within the actual limits. We were basing it on an average of 4 foot of fill that we had typically or historically used. But based on some of the studies of the soil conditions, we needed to go ahead and remove some of the existing soil to where the building location is, and bring that imported fill. So that's going to give us really more like a 6 foot building pad. But we were able to see some savings in some of the soil that we brought over from the site we were working on that had some good fill. So that's what some of that stockpile that you see out there. And there is some good soil in some of the parking areas that we're going to remove to go ahead and compensate some of the difference in the soil, in these elevation differences. So there is a pretty dramatic slope from Mayberry to the drainage channel, if you're all kind of familiar with the site. But and you can see where we had to lift or build up on the last addition we did. There was maybe Clark Middle Band Hall. Gives you an idea of how high we had to build that.
And that, I was gonna ask you that question. Based on the elevation of this new facility, how are you gonna drain it out so it doesn't impact Clark Middle?
Well, we do have that channel that it will be draining into.
The one on the side of the mall?
The one on the west side.
So you're gonna slope everything?
It'll be sloped in that general area, correct.
So that channel belongs to the mall, or who? I don't know whose it is, that's why I'm asking the question. I don't know if it's public. And if you're gonna drain offside, you need offside agreements.
Yes, when we visited with the city engineering department, that was discussed, as well as with entities of the mall, and that's what was recommended and approved.
Okay.
To be able to use. It does have the capacity.
Yeah.
So the city of Laredo gave us the green light to use that versus having to detain on the property.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And with that said, a foundation permit's been issued as well to begin the pad.
How long did it take
The pad work.
to get your permit?
Okay, we started back in 19. It's been a few months, but it's getting. Yeah, 7 months.
7 months?
Getting a little better. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't say it was you.
Put that on the range.
Now, I did point out to the members that when we were going over the financial report, there was that unallocated interest income that would cover this. So with your motion, we'll set aside the funds to cover this. Because we had the GMP, so we already awarded that contract. So we're gonna increase the amount of the contract, but we're gonna cover it with the unallocated interest.
And the looping of the line, they're asking for that.
They're asking for that.
That was something that came up during their review of the plans. But it's a good idea. But it's gonna
Absolutely, you don't
cost-
need
it's about
boiling water.
$80,000 additional
Mhm.
unforeseen costs. But it's good, you know, it's overall for
Yeah.
both campuses.
That's correct.
Okay.
Does anybody have any more questions for Mr. Alanis or Mrs. Jackson? If no, then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to increase the contract of the amount of $381,641.07 for the Clark Elementary School Health Project.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If no discussion, I'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next action item, discussion and possible action to recommend to the Board of Trustees approval of amendment number 3 to the design build contract with Linedecker Construction of Texas for the Ricardo Molina Middle School to increase the contract guaranteed maximum price amount for cost increases related to instructional technology, infrastructure, and equipment installation.
So the recommendation here is to increase the contract amount by $224,506.12, and that is for, it was because of the cabling and some technology issues that Mr. Pettis is here to address. From the time that we received the GMP to the time that they ordered all of the stuff, there was a significant increase in the price of the technology items, and this amount is fair.
Thank you. And also there's a letter from the architect, Randy Hollis, explaining, I think it's in your packet, why the cost increased over the last 30 months.
Yeah, it's all
He was
documented.
awarded 30 months ago.
We have checked the pricing with what we can get, and the cabling, the connectors, all the technology items have gone up. You're gonna see on the next agenda item, we're recommending to take out the technology component and let UISD bid it out, so. But that will be the next item on the agenda. Is the prices that the contractors are getting keep going up and up and up, and we're trying to address it on the next item. But it is justifiable. We got 3 quotes, and it is what it costs nowadays. You're talking a middle school can have up to 1,000 drops, and you probably say, well, everything's going wireless. We do have data drops and wireless, and on the wireless we put 2 cables on each access point to speed up, because everything's going wireless. Our kids, if you go into any of our classrooms, they're using Chromebooks, they're using the IFP. The way that instruction is being delivered has changed completely. The IFP is the center of the instruction at every classroom. So there's a lot of technology, and all of these prices, as you know, everything's been going up. The copper has gone up, so it has impacted the copper cables that we run. So.
That's why we're glad we're at the end of our bond program, because, you know, to plan these prices 10 years ago is, you know, just, who would have seen this coming?
Yeah.
So again, this item, remember I did point out, I think we had 857,000 of unallocated interest, so, you know, so much to the Clark Elementary project, and then so much to just help us finish Molina Middle and get it going. I don't know, Mr. Bettis mentioned, but believe it or not, our kids are now testing online. Their STAR exams, their end of course exams are all online now.
Yes, that's a good point. It's not mandatory until next year, but being UISD, we've done it, this is our 2nd year, because we wanted to test our infrastructure. Last year, I believe the results of the test didn't count against us, so we took advantage of really to test our infrastructure. So curriculum instruction went, and we took the step of testing on Chromebooks, and so forth, so good. And I was not going to work, because everything can change from 1 minute to the next.
Yes. So the total of the 2 projects is added amendments, right, is 606,000, and we have 857,000. So we feel we can cover these.
From interest
Yes,
rate?
yeah, from interest rate. Yes, they hadn't been committed to anything.
Does anybody have any more questions for Ms. Flores or Mr. Perez Jackson? If not, then I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 224,506.12 increase to the guaranteed maximum price amount for line decker construction for Ricardo Molina Middle School.
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Then, no discussion, I'll entertain a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Next action item, discussion and possible action to recommend to the Board of Trustees approval of amendment number 1, the design build contract with Line Decker Construction of Texas for the Juan Lobezo Ramirez Middle School to decrease the contract guaranteed maximum price amount for deletion of the allowance for instructional technology, infrastructure, and equipment.
So in light of what's happening, remember this is an allowance, so it's not really like the GMP. If he spends over, that's why we're here. If he spends under, we can get a credit. So we've decided that maybe it's best to just remove that allowance from the contract here on out for any new construction. But since this GMP has already gone before you and before the board and it's already included in there, we need to come back and ask you in the form of an amendment to remove that allowance and let us bid out all the technology related items for Mr. Roberto Ramirez Middle School.
Separately with those same funds?
Yes, so what we had allocated there was $1,155,000. Yes.
The advantage of us doing that and withdrawing the money, it's we can bid out Clark and Ramirez at the same time because the schools will open in 2 years. We're planning to order everything probably 18 months in advance to avoid any issues with the access controls, with the cameras. Unfortunately, it's not a smart thing to do for technology because technology advances so fast, but we're living in a different world where there's no supply of this kind of equipment. In addition to that, we do get better discounts than Lion Decker as a contractor. We as a school district get a better discount and also the opportunity to apply for E-rate funds as well. So that's matching. So the $1,155,000, if we apply for E-rate, we get funded, it'll probably be less. So we might come back and tell you if we get funded, we will get it approved. So yeah, you'll see some substantial savings there by bidding both campuses at the same time. Any questions?
This is on you.
Does
Yes.
the committee have any further questions? If not, then I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we decrease this particular contract by $1,155,000 by deleting the allowance for the contracted amount for the providing of the instructional technology, infrastructure, and equipment installation.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. Now I'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Open agenda. Is there anything anybody would like to bring forth? Then the next committee meeting.
I think we'll be on call, right? I do appreciate you all coming today. I know it's summer, and but you can see we're at the tail end of these buildings. Thank God the contracts are in. The road issue is kind of settled, but we're there. I mean, there's some districts out there just doing new bond programs, and I think they're probably going to have to start cutting back on some of the plans they had from what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, our issues now are trying to renovate our older buildings, but we can see where that cost is prohibitive to do anything right now because it's just a little bit outrageous. It is. But we'll hang on. Just to let y'all know, I think the majority of our kids are now not in portables, which was a big intention of this bond program. So, if we do meet again, maybe we can bring y'all some figures saying, you know what, we now have cleared, in fact, we are going to sell portables this coming fall because you know, we have excess portable buildings, and really you have to put them on your property and casualty, so they really start costing you money. Sometimes they get damaged if they're not being taken care of. And so we've never been in this position, right, Mr. Rangel?
We have
It's-
55 buildings that we can dispose of.
Wow. Public auction.
Yeah, yeah. So we, in United
Yeah,
ISD history, I don't think we've ever sold portables, so it's, we're making
Yeah,
history.
I'd
of
like
it.
to know how many are still in portables, you know.
Okay, yeah, just to give you an idea, I think it's our, some of our areas that just still have like special programs in there that a classroom is used for something else,
Mhm.
you know, but I think for the square footage that we added, the number of seats inside, right, Mr. Rangel, I think, you know, we're right there, we're right there.
Especially at the high schools and.
Yeah, the high schools.
Getting close, selling the 55 portable, that's great.
Yes, yeah, so I think that's it again, we'll let you know, I'll get the staff to see what other items, but I think we're ready to open Molina Middle and, you know, get Ramirez Middle and Clark Elementary just going, and ordering the furniture earlier and all the technology.
We've offered some of the portable classroom buildings, not through Mr. Gonzalez, to Uvalde, ISD, right?
Yes, we did.
So,
See
things
if
are
they're
gonna close,
interested,
that
yeah.
unfortunately, the school, the elementary.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Then you'll let us know. We'll work on the
Yeah.
next meeting whenever.
Yeah, yes. Well, but thank you all for, I know, you know, it's summertime, you can think of anything right now. But these are very, very key issues for us.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you all for being here. Well, it's 6:55 and this meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for your support, thank you.